Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay. I have a lot of things spinning through my head tonight, but I'm going to try to stay really on point. I think I say that every time, don't I? Every week. Um, First and foremost, I think I'll lead with this. After the last day of May or the first day of June, that is when, typically speaking, the Leaders Retreat contest actually starts. Now, they don't release it. They don't release what the contest is, and they don't release the location of Leaders Retreat until we're at convention. But for those of you who have been to convention before, you probably know, because of for no other reason, if you've seen in all of your Facebook, this time last year, you realize we've already done convention. This is the first year that convention has happened this late since I've been in Plexus. So typically, as soon as the end of May is over, we've already done convention or we're at convention. So this year, we're going to be getting a late start on knowing what the Leaders Retreat contest is. Because normally we would already know it by now. We would already know where we're going. And is that making sense to everybody? So I thought, since I'm so smart and I thought of that, I thought I need to let everybody know at least what it usually is and has been in the past. It's pretty simple. It's pretty consistent with the way convention contest is. They may throw us a curveball and something that's completely unexpected, but I'm not looking to see that happen. So I want to share with you, I don't guess, Jetty, you can't share that graphic in here in the chat, can you? No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll try.
Okay. I will read off to you the basics of what the graphic that he's going to try to share says. This was last year's Leaders Retreat contest. This will give you a skeleton of an idea. And keep in mind that even though the contest rules and structure won't be known until the end of convention, that the contest almost always starts today. It's almost always retroactive back to June. So all of your activity that happens between now and when convention is over also counts. Oh, did it show? Hang on, I'm going to look. We'll see if that actually.
It's not showing, but it should be. Try to click it and see if it actually shows it. Now, this is an old contest. This is not this.
Yes, please understand what we're saying here. This has got the red, white, and blue because we went to Washington, D.C. last year. It's old contest.
And it's liable to be a little bit tweaked, a little bit different. Things will be different. So.
Okay, it'll be a little different than this, but this way it'll give you a good idea. New ambassadors with welcome pack. If they're personally sponsored, you get 10 credits. Level 2s, 10 credits. Level 3s, 10 credits. And level 4s, 10 credits. So when you or any of your levels 1 through 3 sponsor new people, you get 10 credits each. New personally sponsored, preferred, or retail customers, if they're personally, on customers, you only obviously get Leaders Retreat credits. I'll eventually say it right. Leaders Retreat credits if they are your own customer, not for your levels 1 through 4 or 1 through 3 or whatever. So new preferred or retail customers must order products equal to 50 PV or more to qualify, and those are worth 5 credits each in the past. I do actually anticipate a little bit of tweaking on some of this, but anyway. For personal volume, so keep in mind that as you're adding these new, especially preferred customers, you think, well, they're only worth 5 points. But if they're adding to your personal volume, you're also getting points for them again. And from 200 to 499.99 in PV. So from 200 to 500, basically, in PV, you get 20 credits. 500 to 1,000, you get 50 credits. 1,000 to 1,500, you get 100 credits. and 1,500 and above gets 150 credits toward the Leaders Retreat contest. Now, I don't know if that will be tweaked or not. It will probably be a very similar structure. The other thing here is talking about the prizes. Last year, to qualify for Leaders Retreat, you had to earn 650 credits. You would get a special event like, let me back up and say this. In the past 2 or 3 years, 3 years, I think, we have been at Gaylord resorts of some sort. And so this is just a guess on my part again, but I have a guess that we'll probably do one more year of Gaylord resorts. So that could be like Nashville, or I don't know, there probably are a couple other destinations left within the Gaylord regime, whatever. At these different places, each different place has particular things that you could qualify for that's considered like a special event. You could have like a spa package or a golf package. In the past, they've done excursion type stuff, like what are those things called, Jetty, that you and Missy did? Those Segway tour, right?
Yeah, we did Segway tours.
So like, touring the city that you're visiting, those types of things. And that's always fun to qualify for those. And that's typically about 200 more credits than what it takes to qualify to go to Leaders Retreat. So 850 credits. 1,200 credits gets you a $300 travel voucher. 2,200 credits gets $2,200 or $2,000 cash. And 4,500 credits actually earns the shopping spree. I would love to see some people on this team earn that shopping spree this year. Like, I totally see it. It's doable. It's totally doable. The first year that Jetty and I were ambassadors, we were like, I couldn't see nothing. Now, by the way, you need to know something. Plexus has upped its game, because back in the day when we were brand new and had tunnel vision, like we had our Plexus goggles on, that's all we could see was tunnel vision, and we were going to win the very, 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 very top prize. That year, the top prize was a Rolex watch. And that's why the only reason that my husband sports a Rolex watch from time to time, because we won what was the equivalent of a shopping spree. It's a Submariner, I think, is that what it's called? Submariner. So it's like a sporty, if you can imagine this, that there is such a thing as a sporty Rolex. It's a sporty Rolex watch. And I'll never forget, this is something to kind of encourage you. Y'all are going to have to prepare your ears. If language gets to you, I'm about to say a really bad word. Not really bad. If your kids are in the room, it's not really bad. I'm just kidding. But I have to tell a cute story. This will encourage. Yes, please cover Chad's ears. So the first year that we went to Leaders Retreat, I think we were gold and senior gold. And everybody that went up to get what's the equivalent of the shopping spree now, which was the watch, that it was like Coach Cuevas, Sheila Medina, all the names that you would totally anticipate going up to win this Rolex watch. They were all Emerald ambassadors. That's all there were at the time. There were no sapphires or diamonds. But they were all Emerald, the highest rank that anybody had achieved, until they call out this name, Jetty Harrison. And here I am standing with my iPhone ready to take his picture because I'm so excited. There's a gnat in here. So excited that he's won this, the top prize, and standing there like this, and I'm recording. I have video. This was back in the days when phones didn't have great video, but I recorded the woman sitting in front of me saying, this is the part you need to cover your ears on. She goes, "Who the hell is Jetty Harrison?" I was like, excuse me? I didn't know that, they only anticipated Emeralds winning these things. Well, that's not the way it is anymore. It's not the way that it is in general. It's not only the jewels that can win these big prizes. So, oh my gosh, how it would make my heart flutter to hear someone say, "Who the hell is one of y'all's names?" as you walk up and get your shopping spree, okay? That would totally make my day. It's totally doable. By the way, the momentum that was built leading up to trying to win. And now, by the way, I wasn't trying to win a Rolex. I didn't care anything about that. Jetty will tell you, when it got time to win the Rolex portion, I had pushed so hard to win all the prizes before that Rolex. It was like the momentum carried us up to just a few points from the Rolex. And I'm like, well, it's crazy not to push to try to get that. But what I wanted to win was like the iPad, and there was the excursion and an iPad and travel vouchers and all that stuff. What I didn't realize was happening is that the momentum that we had built on our team leading up to that first leaders retreat, which my son spent the entire time sick because it was a cruise, by the way, and he was like very green-gilled on this cruise, puking. He wanted to be puking and all is bad. But that momentum totally pushed us into Emerald from senior gold and senior golds in October. By March, we were both Emeralds. And so it can be very fun. And here's the next thing I wanted to share with you. This is the next thing on my list. The summer months are going to be exactly what you determine that they will be in your business. Some people are like, it's the summer, I'm going to take the summer off, and that's golden. We're all cool with that. Nobody's going to criticize you for that if that's the way you want to do it. But I will tell you this, we have more than one jewel, and for sure one diamond ambassador on our butterfly team who was a school teacher. At the end of the school year in May, so at this time of year, she wasn't comfortably making enough Plexus money, so she was new in Plexus, to feel that she could quit her school teaching job. So she went ahead and signed a contract for the next school year because she felt like that's what she needed to be doing. And in the summer months, from the end of May until sometime in August, she created enough momentum with her team to push her to where she's a diamond now. And by the time from just June, July, August, she created enough momentum that she was thinking, I can't believe she had to teach another school year to keep from breaking a contract. But that's absolutely doable for those of you who are in it to win it. And you're like, okay, I got in this thing to do this thing. Then you can make the summer months be I knew I was going to be speaking to some of you guys with that, the teacher thing. You can make these summer months totally count. I watched a video by another Diamond Ambassador today in regards to this exact topic. 4 or 5 kids, and she was saying, the summer can be like, oh my gosh, like the kids are home, I have no time to work my business, so on and so forth. And she said, but I just have to make my business not my top priority, but I have to keep it a priority so that I don't get caught up in all the things that summer months can actually, they can make you feel like, well, just like how you can go off your diet in the summer months, or just how you can do anything like that in the summer months, because it feels like it's vacation time. Here's what I told my dear friend today. I was talking to her on the phone. She said, well, the thing is, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of that because it's hard for me to tell so-and-so no. She was talking about her kid. It's hard for me to tell my daughter no because this and that and the other. And I said, I know as parents, we just love them so much. We want to do everything for them. And I said, if you ever want to be in the position, this is going to be a big one here. If you want to be in the position to where you are always the boss of whether you say yes or no, and it's not time being the boss or money being the boss. You are the boss of whether you say yes or no to your kids, yes or no to opportunities for them, yes or no to summer camp, yes or no to anything that comes their way. You are at some point going to have to make your business a priority. And for me, I know I've told you guys this before, but I went through a season of my business was a priority. And now, okay, aside from God and my marriage, my hot tub is my priority. I don't want y'all to feel offended or nothing. Don't get mad at me. But I spend a lot of time around my swimming pool, and I always will during the summer or even probably the winter since I have a hot tub. And I hope you guys don't misunderstand me. And if there's new people on, people are probably like, what's wrong with her? But I want you guys to know that it did take the work up front, and it took from me getting out of my comfort zone. It took from me doing things that I probably thought when I signed up with Plexus that I never would be willing to do. And I'm not talking about unspeakable things, but just uncomfortable things. Reaching out to people that make me a little uncomfortable. Making phone calls when I would rather be, making pancakes, to be honest with you. It'd be like, man, it's a lot more fun to make pancakes than to make phone calls. But the truth is, I had to make it a priority for a season in my life. And I know that this particular Zoom call that I'm doing tonight isn't going to speak to everybody, because some of you, and won't find any criticism from me, but some of you are never going to feel that way about this business. But I do feel like if you get on here at Wednesday after Wednesday, there's something in it for you that you're like, I hadn't found my niche yet, or haven't found exactly where I'm supposed to be yet, or I haven't decided yet to step outside my comfort zone in the way that she's talking about. But if you're on here week after week, there's something there that appeals to you. It's probably time freedom, if I had to guess. The products have done something for you or someone that you love, and the time freedom appeals to you. So when I'm talking about the fact that I have a swimming pool, or that, that Jetty and I are doing things in the middle of the week that I thought that we would never get to do, I'm just being completely transparent with you in helping you to understand that it did take a season of our lives, instead of what it was taking from our lives, it was taking from our lives my husband. And that's a fact. My husband was working nights, he was working days, he was working when we were supposed to be sleeping. I used to say, we have this joke that did not used to be so funny, but it's funny to me now, sorta. But when we were early on in our marriage, I would go to town, do what I was supposed to do. If he would wake up, because he was sleeping during the day, if he would wake up while I was gone, I would get home and he'd be like, "Where were you?" I'm like, "I was grocery shopping." He's like, "I don't like for you to leave while I'm asleep." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry." And so then, days later, it'd be like, he'd be at work, he'd call the house, because this is the day before the days that everybody had a cell phone. He'd call the house, I wouldn't answer. Finally, he would get a hold of me, he'd be like, "Well, where were you?" I'd be like, "I was at the grocery store." I don't like for you to be gone when I'm at work. I don't even know where you are. I can't keep up with you. What are you doing? And I'm like, okay. So I'm taking notes here. He don't like for me to be at the grocery store while he's asleep or while he's at work. So then it comes down to, we most certainly can't do the grocery store together. Can we, Jetty? No. The reason we can't do the grocery store together is because weird people adore me. They want to tell me everything. And sometimes that's about their hemorrhoids. Strangers want to walk up and tell me their life story. And so for years, we have not gone to Walmart together. He will not do it. He's like, "No, absolutely no, I'm not going anywhere." So then you can end up in a house with no groceries, because Jetty don't ever like for me to be gone to go to the grocery store. And really, I look back on those years and I can sort of laugh about it now. But the fact was, he was miserable. And also, we were miserable because he was miserable. And so I guess I told you that story you're going, "Why did you tell us that story?" I told you that story because you're going to go through the misery portions of your life. You can stretch them out and make them take 20 years. Because that's that was the road we were on. We were like on the 20 years of misery plan. Or you can sort of cram pack it all into, like, for some of the diamonds on our team, Tammy Elmore is who I was talking about earlier, who cram packed all her misery into one long summer and turned her summer into an emerald paycheck that turned into a diamond paycheck. And I'm going to tell you, I can promise you, I should actually have her be on here one night and share her testimony with you guys. This business completely has changed her entire family's life. Not just her family that live in her house, but her grown kids. And her sister is also a diamond, and several people within her family. The bulk total of the jewels that live like within this like 10-mile radius are related to Tammy Elmore. Her whole family was rocked to the core with this business, and that's very exciting when I think about it. In fact, I look at several of your faces and you know her story because you're on her team. Okay, at convention, I have a couple of little notes for those of you who are going to convention. I'll keep it very simple because I know all of you are not going, but some of you are. First, there is this thing called Safeway online. If you go to Safeway.com, you can actually get them to deliver, goods to your hotel, and you just have to meet them in the lobby. So if you're looking for bottled water that's not $4 a bottle, that's a great way to go. Also, according to Cousin Carl, there is a Walgreens on almost every corner. So that's another great way for you not to have to spend whatever the hotel concierge type price is on amenities such as, drinking water. If anybody needs any more information about that, holler at me. The other thing I have written down here is that Amazon Prime actually in Vegas has, don't quote me on this, but I sort of think has 2-hour delivery in Vegas. It's normally 2-day delivery, but in Vegas it's different. They have a headquarters there. So if you order something off of Amazon Prime, you'll have to look into that to know for sure. Don't share that information with the world if you want 2-hour delivery. Don't put it on the convention page, because otherwise we'll back it all up and none of us will be getting what we want. Everybody else will be getting what they want, okay? Also, I fully intend, for those of you who would like to attend it, I don't know how this is going to work out, I would love to do a prayer breakfast in one of the huge banquet halls where they have buffet. That's the word I'm trying to find. They have buffets galore in Vegas, and I think some of the breakfast halls they said hold like, Aaron, was it 10,000 people or something like that?
I don't know. She just said several thousand.
Okay, so several thousand people. And so one of the mornings, and I'm really trying to nail this down. One of the mornings last year we did a prayer breakfast, and it turned out to be, I don't know, pretty amazing. And those that were in attendance can speak to that. They know it was awesome. And I think I'd like to do that again this year. And so if anybody is a great organizer or loves that type of thing and has any input in regards to Vegas specifically, I would really love to rock Sin City with, I know you guys would be shocked if I laid hands on somebody, but it just could happen. I could see it happening. So I would love to see that happen in an area where several of us could get together and do something like that. Now, anyway, moving on. It's probably the most important thing I'll talk about tonight, but Jetty, was there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, last thing I'm going to talk about is team contests. Now, Jetty and I are about to go to Ohio tomorrow. We'll be gone all weekend. And in the course of being gone, we are going to concoct a great contest, probably for our level 1s, maybe our levels 1 through 3. We have not decided this yet. But the thing is, that's very important, is I have found several contests. And if you guys are interested, I'd be happy to put these contest ideas on the butterfly page all in one thread, just to give you some ideas and spur some just thought processes for those of you who are thinking, man, I'd love to have a contest for my team that would spur this leaders retreat credit thing to be all that it can be. Now, generally speaking, I know that you guys know that I'm not a contest girl. Like, I'm all like that. I'm being candid with you here. So please don't take offense to what I'm about to say. I'm telling you the way I look at it. I'm like, if this compensation plan does not motivate you, then I don't know how in the world a handbag will. However, I realize people have different love languages than I do. And so I think that it'd be a really great idea, since I did stumble across lots of great contest ideas. I see my chat box lighting up. I want contest ideas. I want contest ideas. So I'm going to share a thread of several of the contests that other leaders in the company are hosting. Are you guys down with this? You're like, okay, yeah, please. The things that I will suggest to you, I haven't shared them on the Butterfly page before because I think, well, if it's not exactly the way you would like for it to be, or if the prize is not, you're like, I'm not going to give away a Gucci bag or something like that. I'm just going to put the contests on there the way they're worded, and then you take it and word it appropriately for what you think will motivate your team. The truth is that probably in the whole sphere of Plexus, the Butterfly team probably has more men per capita than the rest of the entire teams in Plexus. I think that has to do with the fact that I'm married to a male diamond. You see what I'm saying? Like, other men are like, hey, whoa, I love his Jeep. I wish I had some time freedom like that. And they actually take this business seriously, which I love that about the fact that he works the business with me. So these contests are not real tweaked toward men, like the contest itself, but maybe not the prize. So I think you should probably, if you're one of those leaders that has several men on your team, or if you yourself are a man, I think it's probably smart for you to tweak it a little bit in the prize area. Maybe give away a pocket knife or fishing pole, something besides a Gucci bag. So, hang on. I got to make sure that's all I had up my sleeve for tonight. Does anybody have a very pertinent, as in specific to what we talked about tonight? Hang on. Oh, hang on. I have to show you guys one more thing. And of course, I'm going to show this while we're recording, but I have been off of sugar for I don't know how many days now. And for those of you that are like, look at her hair. Why is her hair all pulled back? Well, that's because I always have my hair down as a disguise around my chin. And you can actually see my chin these days. That's simply all because of sugar. I mean, oh my gosh, I had really, really gotten off course. And I'm being really transparent with you guys when I'm talking about this, because this is like the thing I least like talking about in Plexus is weight. But I'm just going to be honest with you. If you're stuck and you're in a rut and you wish your products would start working again, it's the sugar. Sugar is the devil. I'm telling you right now, if you would get off the sugar, do it for 3 days and you won't crave the sugar anymore. If you're really working toward a goal in this business, not a weight loss goal, but if you're working toward a rank advancement or something like this, and you're like, sugar is my friend right now because, stress or whatever, it's totally not your friend. It's like the opposite of your friend. I have not worn my hair back in months because of the fact, and I'm not wearing it back today. I'm not wearing it anyway. It's just how it felt today. But I just wanted you guys to know, every time I think, well, last time I did it, it only took 3 days for sugar to start tasting weird to me. But every time I think that, I think, I know that's true, but I just really like it a lot. And so I'm probably going to keep eating at least a little bit of it because I can't remember for sure if it was 3 days, and that's a long time. 3 days is a long, long time. Well, it's always in 3 days, you'll be like, sugar tastes weird. And then next thing you know, you're not craving it anymore unless you eat it again. So there's that. You're welcome if you're looking for some way to get your products to kick back in again. The sugar is the answer. Okay, I'm going to glance really quick. Y'all are funny. I'm glancing through the chats really quick. Okay, when it comes to prayer breakfast, I can't promise that this is going to happen, but I'm answering someone's chat question. I can't promise that the prayer breakfast will happen, but I'm praying that it does. And I will announce it on the Butterfly page. And so just keep your eye on that page, and we'll try to figure out the best time and place. Last year, I didn't figure it out till I actually got on location. We figured out the day, but the actual location took me forever to figure out a place that would hold that many people. So that's the answer to that question. Okay, now for real, I'm opening it up to see if anybody has any pertinent questions that they haven't asked yet. If you do, either type it or unmute yourself. Nope. I knew I was going to get a sugar question. When you say no sugar, are you talking about carbs also? I'm talking about if you are a hardcore sugar, like sweet tooth person, and you are on sugar so like crazy right now, then I would say back off to where you're eating mostly protein and veggies and occasional fruit, but you don't want to replace your fruit. Replace the sugar craving that you used to have suddenly with like all day smoothies or something like that, because that's going to backfire on you. But I think that fruit is fine. Now you're asking somebody who's got a sugar problem, so really, like, I'm going to have the really best answer for you here. But honestly, if you can, whatever you can do to get 3 days under your belt, it's going to make, yes, berries. That's such a good answer. Berries are the best answer because they're low in sugar. And then you can sprinkle some Truvia or whatever it is, because it's not actually it's actual sugar. Now, do not suggest stevia is what I meant. I said Truvia, stevia. Put stevia on it. You could put something on it like that, but do not use, I'm just here to tell you right now, do not use anything sucralose, aspartame, Splenda, any of that stuff. That's the same thing as poison in my mind. And I'm just telling you, my joints will start hurting like crazy if I put specifically if I put Splenda on something. It will make my joints hurt like crazy. And also, my husband can attest to the fact that it makes me angry woman. Splenda does something chemically here to people that they can't really prove, or they have proven, I'm not sure, but Splenda won't let them put the records out or whatever. But yes, I think I said Truvia. I meant stevia. Put stevia on your fruit if you need something to sweeten it a little bit. But I knew Heather Grenier was going to say that. Splenda kills up to 50% of your good gut flora. Splenda is not good for you. It's really, really bad. So, okay. Are there any other questions about the convention contest? I will make a thread on the Butterfly page that talks about leaders. I meant to say leaders retreat contest. I highly suggest, if you are looking to win a prize at Leaders Retreat, that you implement some sort of contest for your team. It'll make all the difference in the world. Unless you want to do it all by your lonesome, all level ones, all sponsoring level ones to win this contest. I want to say one last thing before I pray over us, and that is that I could not be any prouder of this team than I am. In the last few weeks, it's just like I've seen not just explosive growth as company business-wise. I've just seen explosive growth with you guys in ways that that are not as tangible. Personal growth type ways where people are just coming out of their shell, reaching outside their comfort zone, and doing the things that it ultimately takes to really make this business rock. And by the way, I'm going to tell you, the things that it ultimately takes are not the things that you're going to read in an Eric Worre book. It's not. what it ultimately takes is vulnerability, and you're not going to find that probably in any network marketing book. It takes being real with people and being authentic. I mean, tonight, just for example, tonight I shared with you about the fact that I have a sugar issue. I don't anymore, and I'm not going to speak that on myself. But that has been a struggle my entire life. Comfort food and loving on people with food, like when I was growing up, that was my mother's love language. That's the way that she showed us that, we had done great. She congratulated us with cakes. And I associated those things together. It's like, you do good thing, you praise people with cake. If people are sad, you praise them with cake also. And that does not make good for your pant size. It also does not do good for your health. And I know a lot of you, especially if you live around here, I don't know if this is like universally, like nationwide, I should say. I think it is, though, that we are consumed with sugar and Sonic drinks. And eventually, if I keep talking long enough, I'll eventually hit whatever your problem is tonight, because I think that America is consumed with putting all of our eggs into the basket of, I wish I could fill this hole, this void that I feel all day long. And we fill it with the things that we can buy at a store. We fill it with the things that we can, shoot up our noses. Or I don't know if you shoot something up your nose. Do you sniff it up your nose? I don't know. I've never done that. That's one vice I've never tried. But anyway, put it up your nose in some way or shoot it in your vein. And I'm talking about that lightly, and I know it's not at all a light topic, but I feel like we don't take everything to the source and get to the core of what's wrong with what's eating a hole in our hearts. And I always typically, especially in the last several years, filled the void in my life with food. And I'm going to mute it just in case somebody's actually discussing me. I don't want to hear that. That's for sure. I hear people talking. Anyway, I don't need your feedback. Y'all are welcome, but I don't need your feedback. Anyway, so I don't know why I got to talking about that either, but okay. So tonight, before we pray, I felt like we should talk about some, or that we should maybe lift up any troubleshooting issues that we have in our business. I jokingly talk about the fact that we are the very best diagnosticians of our own businesses. We pretty much know. People come to me and ask me questions about what's going wrong with their business or what's going wrong in even their marriages. Sometimes they'll ask me questions like that. And I feel like people generally already know the answer to that question. They're just hoping for someone to give them a different answer than what they believe to be true. So whatever that is in your mind, you think, yeah, I know I could really rock my business, or I know that my marriage would be better if I wasn't so codependent, or I know that my marriage would be better if I could more easily forgive her, him, or myself. I know that everything in life would be better if I could be more vulnerable and real with people. Whatever it is that you feel holds you back, because if it's holding you back in your business, it's holding you back in your everyday everything. And there's only one place to take those concerns. And that's what I'm going to pray over. I'm going to start with that tonight, and we'll see where it takes us. So, God, we just come to you tonight with open hearts, vulnerable to what your call is on our lives, willing to listen, Lord, to what it is that you have to show to us. Lord, some of us are at that place that we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so gangbusters so ready to go and so ready for my calling. Just show me what the next step is, Lord. And then there's some of us that are like, I have no idea. I don't even give a second thought to that. And I pray over all of us at every level, whatever we are, because even at the utmost level, we've been through all these steps. We have to take all these steps. So for every concerned heart that's on this call tonight that wishes for some sort of life makeover, who wishes that something would come along, something would come along and breathe life into their daily mundane activity. God, we lift those things up to you. We know that you're working in us even when we're not aware. We know that you're working for us even when we're not aware. We love you, God. And we're so glad that you love us. Every person that is on this call or will listen to this call, I pray over their families and those people that they care about. I pray over the situations that make their hearts heavy, that, God, that you would be ever present in every situation, reminding us in every situation that we are to always reach back to you. Reach back to you in every situation. I had a situation that happened today even where I was like, what? I made an assumption about something and turned out to be wrong. I think like today in that situation, it was like God was reminding me, are you serious? I felt like God was calling me to do something, and then I did it, and then immediately started questioning it when things didn't work out the way I thought they were going to. I mean, wow. I'm like, Lord, this is what you told me to do. And then it's like, okay, wait a minute. And I think it's just like testing, strengthening our faith in our ear. It's like, is that what I heard? God, is that what I heard? Was I hearing you when I did that? I felt like it was you. And all of that's still something that is to play out. Like I have faith that was like, that's what I was to do. And that it's God's record to play, not mine. Kind of like everything. God, I thank you for our weaknesses. I didn't have any idea I was going to say that, but I thank you for the crazy sugar addiction that I've had. Because it's those things, and that's actually one of the lesser things that I've ever dealt with. I mean, I've dealt with some biggies, but it's those things that always keep me in raw dependence on you and who you are, what your plan is in my life. Keep me leaning always on you. So thankful for loving spouses. Loving good friends, people who are in our lives that we know that have our best interests at heart. And also, I'm thankful for those opportunities to grow, like, when we learn a friend doesn't have our best interests at heart. It's all a balance. I feel like I'm supposed to remind us all that convention is coming up, of course, and then there's a leaders retreat. All of that stuff, those are just words that are just events that only have impact in the kingdom if we allow God to be impactful in those situations. It's just like the products. It's just like the compensation plan. It's just like when we reach out to someone on our, list of 100. The only way any of that is impactful in the kingdom or is important, I should say, is because God says so. And so, every day, and I have to remind myself this every day, waking up and remind myself that today doesn't really belong to me. The breath, the air that goes into my lungs doesn't really belong to me. It's borrowed. It sustains the life that's inside me. And it allows me to be living so that the light can shine through me. I pray that none of us wake up in 5 years and say, man, look at the opportunities and the chances I had to let God's light shine through me in bold, vulnerable, transparent, genuine, authentic ways. And I let fear be the boss of me instead. I pray that over myself. I mean, anything I say, any of this stuff that comes out of my mouth, it's just like, I pray that every time he puts an opportunity in front of me, a crazy person at Walmart, whatever it is, I pray that every time that an opportunity is put in front of me, that I don't let fear be the boss. A chance to speak life over someone, a chance to pray for somebody, a chance to lay healing hands on someone. I don't know how, I could kick myself a million times for every time someone has said something to me that I thought I should probably pray for them. And then I let fear keep me from opening my mouth and say, you want me to just pray over you? You see how easy that came out of my mouth just now? Do you want me to just pray over you? Because the thing is, it's usually that first thing that's the hardest thing to do. Asking them, because then the rest of it's God. Right? It's not like we have to heal somebody or conjure up a miracle. We just have to do what we're called to do. And that is get over ourselves and be braver than the guy next to us who wasn't willing to pray. Be braver than your neighbor. Be braver than your spouse. If you're struggling in your marriage, lay hands on your spouse at night. Tell God to fill them up. Tell God your deepest desire is the deepest desire. My deepest desire, Lord, is for right now. My burning desire, Lord, is for you to heal my marriage. Those types of things. And in an act of faith, lay in your hands on your spouse. They don't have to know it. If you're uncomfortable with that, if that's the first step for you, they don't have to know. If you're past that, if that's not, that you're like, easy, that's so inside my comfort zone, praying out loud with your spouse. lifting up dreams that God has planted inside your heart with your spouse, making lists, deciding right now what your goal is for the next 6 months. By the way, the next 6 months, just for those of you who haven't been on these calls or followed along all this, till the end of the year, the next several months, there's going to be major increase on this team. And I think what legs of this team it happens on that's all up to you. This team is going to prosper and bloom in ways that it hasn't yet. And I mean, here we are. You're on a double diamond team here. Me and my husband. My husband and I are both diamonds. And I'm still telling you that this team is going to prosper in ways that it's going to make me shake. In December, I'm going to be shaking thinking about it. And it's going to be because of your faith and the way you love on people and the way you are the hands and feet. And the way that you put being servant leaders at the top of your priority list. Show me what to do, Lord. What am I supposed to do for you today, God? Is there anybody else on here tonight that wants to pray? I'm at the point that I'm going to close this, but if there's somebody else that wants to pray, you're just going to have to unmute yourself. Don't be bashful. No pressure either, though. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. Lord, we just thank you for the love that you show to us every single day. We thank you for the families that you've given us to love and take care of us. Take care of. And we thank you in advance for all the ways that you plan to prosper those of us who walk in your light, Lord. Who just want to be a window to let your light shine through. And we pray all of these things in Jesus' name. Amen. We have to head to, I think, according to my husband, the Mack truck driver.
Part-time.
Yeah, the part-time Mack truck driver. He wants to honk on down the road in the middle of the night to Ohio.
I think it might be, if it's raining, we won't leave that early.
Which is how early?
I don't know. Every time I feel like it.
Whatever time he feels like. I'm just going to wait for the little tap on the shoulder. Babe,
Yeah.
you want to get up now? It's time to honk on down the road. By the way, before he wakes me up, he will have already come down here and had 4 to 8 cups of coffee, I can assure you. He also told me, you can take your pillow. Because my son's the driver now. I don't know what that's all about. But all that noise that you're hearing while we're praying has to do with the fact that my kids are still getting ready for bed, feeding the dogs, the cat, and all that good stuff. And apparently they need fed. So anyway, you guys have a super night. Next week will be right before convention, right before Jetty and I leave for convention anyway. So I'm sure that we'll have something fantastic. If you guys have a super topic that you would like for me to talk about right before convention, shoot that my direction, and I will definitely.
Lori, can you hear me this week?
Yes.
Okay, good. Last week I kept trying to ask you something, and you couldn't hear me, so the meeting ended. Okay, about the leaders retreat.
Yes.
I asked the question about what's the lowest rank you can be to go, and I think Jetty put on there silver. Now, when's the deadline that you can, if you become silver, what's the deadline on that retreat?
Okay. It doesn't have to do with your rank as much as it has to do with earning credits toward the contest. So the contest generally goes June, July, August, and part of September. Is that right?
Usually June, July, August, and half of September, but that'll all be announced. The actual details will be announced at convention.
We don't know the exact contest yet, but generally speaking, they'll at convention they'll release the details. But you earn credits. You earn credits by you and your team recruiting new people and signing up new customers. You signing up customers personally, and you in your first 3 levels actually signing up new ambassadors. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Okay.
And
All right.
overall volume, personal volume usually counts really well toward that also. So
the deadline you won't know until convention.
right,
Yes.
it would probably be middle.
History would say mid-September, but
mid-September,
Okay.
right, to earn enough credits by the middle of September.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Y'all have a safe trip.
Thank
I
you.
know when I went to the city today, we had a rainstorm about Pauls Valley, and that was like 11 or so, and it came back through about 4, and it was still raining in the same spot. So y'all be careful.
Okay. Thank you. Well, you guys have a super night. If I've missed anything on the chat, I'll try to.
you stop recording too.
Oh yeah, I need to stop recording.